Imagine a day going by without you talking or saying a word to anyone. So you're in the midst of people, carrying out your normal day-to-day activities, but with the absence of words. So statistics or research says an average human being would speak a couple thousand, maybe like 16,000 or thereabout words in one day. So you can imagine how many words you're speaking in a day, in a week, and all of that. So speaking and talking and communicating is actually the basis of human interaction. Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm super excited to be with you. And how has it been going? How has the new year been going? And I hope you've been able to take action on your goals. I've talked to you this year about casting your vision and also goal setting. If you missed those videos, please go ahead and watch them. But from now, I'm going to focus on speaking to you about communication, effective communication in the workplace, especially if you're like C-level and your management, your top level in your organization. A couple of days ago, I shared in one of my social media handles a story of me when I was younger, and something that happened because there was a break in communication. So this was me. I was what we would call a newbie in the boarding house system. I was in junior secondary school 1. So I was in high school, and that was my first time of leaving home and first time of being in a boarding school and all of that. And my mom, in her usual manner of wanting to ensure that her children are well taken care of and all of that, now, along with my provisions and everything I needed to take, fried meat, had nice dried meat, and says, oh, go along with it, and then, you can have it for a day or two and all of that, and possibly share and all of that. So I took it with me. And now, when I was young, I was terribly shy. As in, I was shy. I lacked self-confidence. I found it difficult to speak up, sometimes to even answer when I'm spoken to. It was just like a big deal for me. It was really difficult for me. So here I was in the room of, I think, about 8 girls, mostly my seniors. And so I had my meat, and every time I want to bring out the meat, I would feel it would be strange to be eating it alone. I'm used to it, thought to share. But I just didn't know how to approach people and say, do you want some? These are all remember, they're new. And then I'm shy. I lack the confidence and all of that. So the meat kept sitting down there until it started forming fungi, and it was bad. And then this Sunday afternoon, I can't remember what happened, but my room head, she was in what we would call Form 5 then, just started picking on me and was telling me how I'm very stingy, how I'm very wicked because I didn't want to share what I had. I allowed it to spoil rather than giving people. I know she started to talk. Tears just began to flow down my eyes. And this is me not being able to even open my mouth to say, no, this is it. Besides, if you tell anybody that, okay, you were really feeling shy, you didn't know how to offer them, they may not even believe you. So I just kept crying as she was talking. And, it was one thing that stayed with me for a very long time. And I was actually very frightened of her, really, because she's not very huge and she wasn't very, pleasant. Anyway, but it could have been handled differently. And how many people do I see? So this is me just in school, but that a lot of people go through issues like that. I've seen people being hurt. I've seen people hurt others in the workspace simply because there was a lack of effective communication. So what is communication to even begin with? Communication is a sharing of information between people for a common understanding. So communication goes beyond just talking. It goes beyond speaking. It goes beyond passing information. When you talk of communication, there is a sender and there's a receiver. There's a message, there's a message you're sending. And let me say this here, whenever you want to communicate, be the message. And what I mean by that is buy into whatever it is. For instance, if you work in a company, do you buy into the vision of that company? Because if you're not invested in anything you're trying to communicate to people, especially in a corporate setting or when it has to do with your job, it's clear there's no passion in your communication. It's not inspiring, because one of your goals is to inspire people, influence people maybe to take action, to buy into an idea or a project, or to get your boss to negotiate your salary, to negotiate some perks, just all of those kind of things. And so if there's no passion, there's no emotion, you seem to be aloof, your communication is not going to be effective, because what would happen is that there could be a sender, but on the side of the receiver, the person can be totally not connected. It's like they may be disinterested, they may find what you're saying boring, because you have not been able to connect and engage with them. So I'm going to share certain things that you can do, especially if you're higher up, and some of the benefits of effective communication. The first one is credibility. It builds credibility. So when you're able to consistently communicate in a clear manner so that there's no ambiguity, you don't. Just recently, someone was telling me how somebody was sacked from work for doing something I felt was actually very, very, very minor. And I now asked a question: do you have job descriptions? Do you have like a company culture? Do you have like a handbook, a staff book? Do you have, because now communication is not just verbal. Communication, we have non-verbal communication, which has to do with your body language, has to do with your facial expressions, has to do with your tone of voice. And we also have written communication, which is like what I just said, like maybe a handbook to guide people in your organization, emails, letters, memos, circulars, and all of that. Those are written communication. So in my opinion, I felt somebody was actually sacked because they did something that they didn't know they were not supposed to do. And nobody had ever communicated to them that in this place we do not. So don't take it for granted. If you are the head of an organization, head of department, especially people coming in newly, have a culture, have a guideline. Let people know. You'll be unfair to people, and somebody can actually sue you someday. If you take people on, or you penalize somebody for something you never clearly stated is wrong. So it builds credibility, it builds trust. People can buy into whatever it is that you're going to do. Then it also helps to position you as a leader. Now, every leader has a vision. Now, the only way you can get your followers or other leaders you're raising under you to buy into your vision is to communicate your vision. And when you communicate your vision, people are able to see, okay, as an organization, this is where we're going. This is what we need to do. Because a lot of times people say, oh, my staff are very difficult, my staff are disinterested, my staff don't want to do this, they don't want to do that. Because sometimes they're disconnected. And I've had someone also tell me that, I don't know, my boss just does things. I don't know, he'll tell you one thing today, tomorrow he now tells you something else, or he tells you you're doing something and then he tells another person, so all that conflict. But if you're effectively communicating, you want to start a project, who needs to be on the project? Communicate, send a memo, send whatever. What's your internal communication structure like? Share information, let people be there, hold a meeting, talk to them, allow them to ask questions. As a leader, you should not be far from the people. You should be somebody that is easily accessible, somebody that can easily be reached, and somebody that can solve problems and all of that easily. Then the next thing I would say to do is that you ensure that whatever information you're passing or communication is correct, is concise, and is coherent. So being concise means that it's not too ambiguous, it's not too all over the place, it's not too long, but it's also punchy. Sometimes in a bid not to make things too long, it loses the essence of it. So being concise, it keeps the essence, and then it's not too long. Being coherent means it's logical. It makes sense. It has a beginning, it has an end. So your communication also should always be complete. When you're passing something, you're talking halfway and then you get distracted, tell somebody to remind you. Don't say things that you don't finish and then nobody knows what you want or what is expected of them. So you need to ensure that those things happen when you are communicating at all times. the challenges we have sometimes in communication cuts across everybody, whether whoever you are. Sometimes we face some of those things, but I want you to know that communication is something you need, even outside of the office. How many relationships have been broken, people wounded, people hurt, just because somebody is not communicating effectively. So, communication is not a monologue, it's a dialogue. So it's not about you talking. What happens most times, everybody wants to talk. Let me talk, talk, talk. I'm the boss. I finish saying what I'm saying. I push my chair back. I get up and I leave. I don't want to hear what anybody is saying. I don't want to hear your challenges. I don't want to hear. That's not communication. Communication that is one-sided is not communication. So you need to be an active listener. And when you're an active listener, you need to also watch the body language of people. You need to see what they're doing, how they're responding. And so you need to set the tone for your communication. You need to know how to communicate. Is it an informal meeting? Is it meeting with clients? Is it a staff get together? So different places, different scenarios, you now tweak your communication to suit that whatever is happening at the time. So I hope I've been able to help you, and I hope you're going to go out there and begin to communicate more effectively, and I promise you will see it do amazing things for you. It will open up doors for you. And if this video has been helpful to you, click on the like button, share the video, and if you've not subscribed to my channel, kindly do that, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you, and bye-bye.